Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Jonathan Voico.
Good morning, everybody.
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
I'm smart. Not like everyone says.
We were just talking about something off camera. And most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how our show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a number of topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show is the most important. That's where we take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or an issue you'd like us to discuss, as long as we deem it appropriate to be discussed on the show, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/John Campea/tip. And here's the good news about the tip link. It's actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you're listening to this show on our podcast feed, and by the way, everybody, at some point today, go and subscribe to our podcast feed on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app of choice. So the audio version can be there if you need it, if you're driving or at the gym or something. Or if you're watching this show a little bit later in the day, you can still send in a question anytime. And if you send one in when we're not live, well, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, a little bit of housekeeping about the upcoming movie meetups. We, of course, have the next movie meetups coming up on Thursday, September the 11th. Oh, look at that. We don't have that going out yet. On Thursday, September the 11th, it's going out, and we are going to be at Albuquerque. It's up there now. We're going to be at Albuquerque, New Mexico.
There we go.
There we go. At the Regal Winrock at 6:30 p.m. to see The Thing. Now, that theater is almost all sold out. There are a couple of front row seats left, but if you are in Albuquerque and want to come join us for that, go to the Regal Winrock site and get your ticket really quick. Then on Friday, September the 12th, we're going to be in Denver, in Little Rock, I think, or Littleton, whatever it's called, AMC Highlands Ranch 24 for the long walk at 7:40. The tickets for that are now on sale. The tickets are already half sold out. So make sure you guys go to the AMC Highlands Ranch 24 website and get your tickets for that 7:40 show. The next night, we're going to be in Salt Lake City, Utah on Saturday, September 13th at the Megaplex Gateway for The Two Towers. And there are a few tickets left, but they're going pretty quick too. So if you want to come to that, go get tickets for the 6:10 screening. And then wrapping up this leg of the movie meetups on Sunday, September the 14th, we'll be in Las Vegas at the AMC Town Square. And we're going to see The Long Walk again at the 7:10 show. And again, those tickets are now on sale. And the way these meetups work is we're just all going to go watch the movie together. And then afterwards, I'm going to hang out in front of the theater for like 45 minutes or an hour, meet and chat with everybody, take pictures. So if you want to come on down and join us, come on down and join us. More cities, more meetups will be announced in the next couple of weeks. All right, guys. With all that down, let's get things started, shall we? We're going to start things off with this. You know, with Daredevil coming over, and now we know Jessica Jones is coming over. By the way, Kristen Ritter, awesome in the new Dexter.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome in the new Dexter as Lady Vengeance. Love her. Anyway, I like her a lot more in that than I do as Jessica Jones, to be honest with you. But one of the questions that has been around is, what about Luke Cage? What about the FU, you're way too good looking Mike Colter? Like, that guy just makes me feel insecure. I look at that guy for a second.
Hey, man, I got a man crush on that dude.
I just instantly feel insecure.
He was great as a Catholic priest in the show Evil.
Yeah, you know what? I finally watched my first episode of that. It's really quite good. I
It's
don't
a
know why I've been
bonker.
avoiding it.
It gets really bonkers.
So I think I'm gonna get on that show and keep watching it. At any rate, he initially said that, hey, he loved playing Luke Cage, but he's glad that chapter's behind. He's looking forward to other stuff now. But lately, he's kind of maybe been dropping hints that he might be open to coming back. And then recently, there were reports that both he and Finn Jones, who played the immortal Iron Fist, were both just happened to be in New York as they were filming Daredevil Season 2. Then Mike Colter even put up kind of a cryptic Instagram post that could have meant something, maybe not. But now, according to these new rumors online, Mike Colter is going to return as Luke Cage, but it's unknown if it's going to be in Born Again Season 2. Now, the primary source of this rumor is from where a lot of the online rumors come from, Daniel RPK, who is sometimes very accurately correct. Sometimes some of the things he says doesn't come to pass, but they happen. But he's right enough that I think when he says something, we should at least mention it. We should at least mention it. Now, I gotta say, I did not like the Luke Cage series. I liked the first half of season 1 when we had Cottonmouth in.
Yep, that was great.
But then the second half of that season just kind of fell off a cliff.
Fell off.
Season 2 started off with some promise, but quickly kind of fell away, and I didn't really like it.
Silly. And when they were trying to like revive him in that bathtub, I'm like, come on.
But I'll tell you what I loved. I loved Mike Colter as Luke Cage.
Oh, he was great.
I thought he was great in the role. I thought the writing of the series let it down, but I thought he was great in the role. Having him come back, I think would be nothing but a positive thing. And, you know, do you bring back Finn Jones? Not such a pop. The Iron Fist, the way they did on Netflix, didn't go over very well with people. But, I mean, maybe you bring him back. I mean, we always wanted to see, you know, Iron Fist and Luke Cage, Power Man together on screen, maybe to get in a little bit more trouble. Maybe seeing what did they call it on Netflix? The Defenders?
Yeah, the Defenders.
Get a Defenders reunion going here. I would be open to that, especially since Daredevil Born Again, I don't think was as good as the Netflix iteration of Daredevil, but I still thought it was really good. I still enjoyed it. It had some ups and downs, but overall I enjoyed it.
I did too.
I'd like to see him back in it. Now, do I believe it's happening? I do. I actually believe this one. I think there's enough there with it. I think, you know, he knows he's great in the role. I think he had a lot of fun playing it. I think he would be open to coming back. I don't see any drawbacks to bringing him back. So I'm going to say on this rumor, Rob, I believe it, and I think it would be a good idea. What do you think about it?
I agree. I mean, I love the presence. Look, I was a much bigger fan of Jessica Jones than you were, especially the
Most
first
people were, to be fair.
especially the first season with the Purple Man. You know, I really liked that a lot. And I like Finn Jones might have been miscast, but I have to tell you, there was something about him that I liked. And I think that, again, it comes down to writing. And remember, they have to be their vigilante squad, cleaning up, going up against whatever Kingpin's doing with his troops on the streets or whatever. So if the Defenders show back up, it would not surprise me at all. And frankly, I'm looking forward to it, so I think it's probably true. Just because everything I look forward to should be true.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you too. With all the problems I had with Iron Fist, I don't necessarily think Finn Jones was the problem.
I don't either.
Right? I mean, I didn't like him as much in the role as I liked Mike Colter in the role of Iron Fist
Right.
or of Luke Cage. But I could see them recasting him, or I could see them bringing him back. I'd honestly be okay either way.
I just think it's a writing. To me, it's always
Yeah.
a writing issue. You know,
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Would you be open to the idea of Mike Colter coming back as Iron Fist? Or maybe you think they've already brought enough over from the old Netflix universe. Whatever you guys think, and whether you think the rumor is true or not, jump down into the comments below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Almost as long as we've been promised new Star Wars films that never happen. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We have heard for years that they're going to try to do a Knight Rider movie. I still remember back in the AMC days, a story broke that they were going to do a Knight Rider movie. And then that kind of fell away. Never happened. By the way, the Knight Rider theme and the Airwolf theme, I think the two best straightforward
over. But I agree.
I would also give Airwolf the slight edge, but those are the two, to me, best pure theme music. Not song, but theme music to any movie.
Magnum PI is still my favorite.
And you got to put Miami Vice.
You got to talk about, you're talking
Miami
80s.
Vice.
You're talking 80s.
Yeah. We're talking like these kind
I'm
of shows.
talking all time.
Dude, Hawaii Five-0, Mission Impossible. Come on.
Yeah, they're very good, but I wouldn't.
Twilight Zone.
Here's the thing. I wouldn't drive in my car and pop on the theme to Twilight Zone. I wouldn't drive in my car and pop on the Hawaii Five-0. But I've jumped in my car and just put on the Airwolf and Knight Rider music.
Aww. Dun, 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 dun.
All that said,
going to Zuma, baby. Gonna go shred the waves.
We've got yet another report that a Knight Rider movie is coming, and it's going to come from the creators of Cobra Kai. This comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. It says Cobra Kai creators tackling Knight Rider movie for Universal exclusive. Kelly McCormick and David Leitch, of course, from John Wick fame. And he directed the recent Fall Guy, which was awesome. Of 87 North are among those producing the big screen take on the 1980s show about a cool, handsome man and his cool talking car. Hollywood Reporter says, Kit is going on a new ride courtesy of the creators of Cobra Kai, John Hurwitz, Hayden Schlossberg, I hope I'm saying that right, and Josh Held, the creators behind the worldwide Netflix sensation, are in talks to bring Knight Rider, the 1980s action drama centered on the computerized talking car, to the big screen. All three of them would write it, two of them would direct it, and David Leitch would be the main producer behind it, running the whole thing. All right. Again, we have had reports for years about a Knight Rider movie getting made. I actually think this one's going to stick. Number one, because you actually got the producers on board. It sounds like they found their writing team. It sounds like it would have momentum. I'm also going to say this. While not as sci-fi as it was in the 80s, the concept of Kit today is almost very timely. I mean, again, Kit today, not a big stretch from the cars that we have now. I mean, obviously but not nearly as much of a jump as it was in the 1980s, but it would almost feels like very relevant for today to have this AI self-driving car with, I don't know, it's going to be key to who you get to voice it. Get Jeremy Irons to voice Kit this time.
No,
around.
they should get a freaking, what's his name? Hasselhoff to voice it.
Oh God, no. Hey, yeah, you're gonna want to turn left here.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want. I don't think I want Hasselhoff anywhere near this. All due respect to David Hasselhoff, who's great, but you don't make it at all feel like the
Instead of
original
Kit,
series.
it's called Hoff.
It's called. What was the name of Kit's brother? Car. Was that it? Was Car his his brother, or was that his
Makes
his
sense.
twin brother? Or because then they had in the show like an evil twin to Kit. And then they had like an evil
Yeah, they're saying car, K-A-R-R.
truck. Then remember that one? There was also the big semi truck that they thought killed Kit at once. Anyway, I'm going way down a rabbit hole here. I actually think a Knight Rider movie today would be more relevant had they done it instead of back when in the AMC movie talk days. I think today is actually a better time to do it. I think this is going to come through. And you know what? I think if you write it correctly and you don't do it like Cobra Kai, just because it's the creators of Cobra Kai doesn't mean they're going to do it like Cobra Kai. They're totally different thing.
Although it'd be cool if it was in continuity and Hasselhoff played himself, but 40 years on, maybe he's the leader of the whatever.
But you know, they did
And
that
he has
already.
an eye patch.
That's true.
Remember they
I
did
know.
the TV relaunch
Knight
of
Rider
it?
2000.
Knight
And they
Rider
had
2000.
David Hasselhoff back as Michael Knight, but now he's the old. They already
great.
did that. They already did that. I don't want them to do that again. But I don't know, Rob. What do you think about this? What do you think of about the people?
First,
attached?
I gotta say, I was more of a BJ and the Bear guy than I was a Knight Rider guy.
That's
You know,
that was before my time.
yeah, I'm just saying. You know, or like Mentor.
BJ and the Bear sounds like a wild Friday night.
BJ and the Bear was awesome. Was it Greg Evigan? Was he BJ and the Bear? I don't remember. But no, I think this would be cool. Look, who doesn't love Knight Rider? And if you think about it now, I mean, with artificial intelligence the way it is, you could say that Kit has because he's not necessarily connected to the web, he could be like the world's most powerful AI, unconnected to the World Wide Web, which means he's impervious to being hacked. Like, and who knows what they can do with this car? Well, okay, here's the real question. What car? What is Kit? What car would you use?
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about that because remember that goes right along. Somebody wrote in and asked the other day if they did do a Back to the Future remake. Do you go to the DeLorean or do you use another car that in today's thing represented what the DeLorean did back then?
Like
First of all,
McLaren or
I think
first
you
of
update
all,
the car.
I got to stop you at Back to the Future remake. Let's just stop right there, and let's not even ask the question.
You know it's going to happen someday.
Not
It
when
will
Bob
ha-
Gale and Bob Zemeckis are
No,
alive.
maybe not, but it will happen someday.
But no.
I think you update the car. To be honest with you,
You have to update the car.
Yeah,
but
because
like
when Knight Rider first came out, that car was a modern sexy sports car.
Yeah,
I think you've got to do it again
it was
today.
a Trans Am, wasn't
Yep,
it? Firebird.
it was like kind of a modern car at the time. You know,
It's
a
just
modern
like
car today.
it's like when Crockett got the Testarossa in Miami Vice. I think it was that second season when he got the white Testarossa.
Remember when they blew it up?
I liked his boat better.
Yeah. And even Mix-a-Lot sang a song, My Testarossa. I think that like you could do something like what a Dodge Charger, like a modern. It'd have to be an American car. You couldn't go foreign.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But like, is there what? Maybe a Vet. Maybe
Corvette
one of the new
would be-
Vets.
Or the first Rivian sports car, because it would probably have to be electric. Have to be electric if you're going to make it a modern car.
I don't know, man. It's got to be American muscle.
Electric cars are faster.
It's true.
Yep, you got to have the faster car.
But you know what? Would an AI car want to be an electric powered car? It would be a hybrid.
But no, you know what it would be? It would be like
I can see a hybrid.
What's the newer technology that hasn't for batteries? The
Oh yeah.
solid state. So it'd be like all solid state and like super powerful.
And I bet if the exterior was black, it would be completely solar.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yes, 100%.
So the whole
they're
thing
gonna
would
do
be
that.
it'd have like solar power.
And if it has solar panels, it could go into like.
But the whole thing is a solar.
Invisible
Yeah, that's
mode.
what I
whole
mean.
exterior.
Yeah, the whole exterior. It's like Tesla for a roof, but the paint is it'd be totally technologically.
Total side note. Did you see the new batteries they're working on? Instead of the lithium ion, they're looking at the sodium ion, like the salt-based ones. Very promising looking tech. Anyway, sorry, getting sidetracked.
So does that mean when you sweat in your car because it's 100
just-
degrees
You can actually
out,
charge your car through
Well,
human
it's like
sweat.
Dune. It's like Dune. You just sweat into your
Yeah,
suit
you have
and
like
then
a-
it feeds your
Right,
car.
you have
Recycler.
a still seat.
Yeah.
Just
But here's the question. Knight Rider, as you have pointed out a couple times already, is an 80s property.
Right.
yeah.
Is there an audience today for Knight Rider, do you think? Obviously there's going to be a nostalgia factor for people a little bit younger than us and older. Can the concept of a Knight Rider win over a new audience today, do you think?
Well, maybe if Kit has trauma in its background and it can't decide what its gender is because it's in a car and it really doesn't understand, like, what am I supposed to be? Because, Kit was a
Am I a
dude in the
helicopter?
original. Like, I'm a car. I don't have a gender. You could lean into the fact that the modern identity, that could be Kit. Kit could have craziness in him. Like, he could be a crazy AI that's trying to figure out the world. And
Well, you can make the villain car that.
well, then you couldn't have psychological conversations like they do on Star Trek now. Tell me about your feelings, Kit.
Because remember, Kit is supposed to be more Vulcan, if you want to use a Star Trek analogy.
Yeah,
He's a
but the
little bit more
Vulcan on Star Trek now is very little. There's very little Vulcan left in him. As a matter of fact, the last episode was like, you're not a real Vulcan. You're only a half Vulcan.
The new Star Trek is awesome. Star Trek
Oh
Strange
my-
New World is awesome.
Last night's episode, you cannot say
I
it
haven't
was
seen
awesome.
last night's episode.
But I would say no. But in all seriousness, I was joshing. But I think it would be really interesting. Like, how her leaned into the artificial intelligence, and like Kit would have a different experience of the world. Like, Kit could have not necessarily superpowers, but it would know things about the environment. Like, it'd be able to, it could sense things that we couldn't sense. Like, maybe it's tied into the power grid somehow. You could make it really cool. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, I wonder though if a new audience can be won over to it. That's the question. Anyway, guys.
Because they don't drive.
Yeah.
You have to think cars are cool.
Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? The folks behind Cobra Kai are developing a Knight Rider movie. I'm all for it, but I don't know if a lot of people will or not. What do you think? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Yeah, I want to know when they're going to bring back Auto Man.
Linkin Park could write the new theme song. It's got to be
I'd
the
be
same
down
thing,
for-
but a new rock and roll version of it.
I love the new Linkin Park. Anyway, all right, guys, with that down, we're going to move on and play our second round of a little game that we introduced the other day called Overreaction.
What? Oh, no.
Where it's simply that we ask you guys to send us a statement based on a recent news story or whatever, and let us decide if your statement is an overreaction or not. So, Jonathan, what do we got up first?
I'm so tempted to read these with an overly exaggerated voice, but I won't. Pizzazz says Spider-Man Brand New Day is a safer bet to make $1 billion than Avengers Doomsday. What do you say, Rob?
I say no. No, it's not a safer bet. Remember what you convinced me
So you're
over
saying
the
that's
last
an
week.
overreaction?
It's an overreaction. There's no way that Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to make more money than Avengers Doomsday. And only going by the past, I mean, yes, the last Spider-Man movie did quite well, but not as well as Endgame. And even if Avengers Endgame or Avengers Doomsday turns out to be a disaster, I think there's going to be enough people that show up that it's going to go past $1 billion. And I don't necessarily feel that way about Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good bet that both make $1 billion or more.
Yeah.
I do. But to think that Spider-Man will make more than the Avengers movie, I think that's a wild overreaction. I mean, because you got to remember, a lot of the people who are going to be in that Spider-Man movie are also probably going to be in Avengers Doomsday. Like, we don't know that Punisher is going to be in Doomsday. We don't know that Hulk is going to be in Doomsday. We don't know that Spider-Man's going to be in Doomsday, but they could. And even if there's not, there's like 15 times more characters are going to be in that one than Spider-Man. Now, look, if the question was Spider-Man Brand New Day will be a better movie than Avengers Doomsday, that may or may not be an overreaction.
Right.
But to think that it's going to make that it's a safer bet to join the $1 billion club than an Avengers movie,
Yeah, no.
I'm going to say that's an overreaction. All right, what's next?
Elba says James Gunn is now a top 3 comic book director of all time. John, is that an overreaction?
You know what? When I first heard it, my thought was, oh yeah, that's an overreaction. But then I thought for a second, you know what? It's not an overreaction. It's not.
No.
I mean, let's just look at the guy's track record. Now, if you're talking about the highest grossing comic book box office directors, maybe not. But when you look at simply, first of all, he's the only guy who's made great movies on both the Marvel and DC side. I mean, that alone is a huge feather in his cap.
He's also the only writer-director.
Yeah. Who's done both. I mean, his Guardians of the Galaxy films, even though I didn't super love the second one, I still thought it was really good. There are some people that the second Guardians is their favorite. He made 3 fantastic Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Then he came over to DC. He made, at the time, the best DC TV show ever, in my opinion, with Peacemaker. He did a ridiculous notion of doing another Suicide Squad movie with like a totally different lineup and made it amazing. Now he's followed that up with Superman and the new Peacemaker and stuff like that.
All of which he's written.
Or had a major hand in writing and directing. And I just... Who else is up there? I mean, obviously Christopher Nolan with his Dark Knight trilogy, that's in there. Sam Raimi, but you know, not everybody loved the new Doctor Strange. And you do, of course, have his Spider-Man 3.
And Darkman.
But Darkman's a guilty pleasure of mine. Darkman.
Take the elephant.
But I mean, who else would be in that? I mean, then right up there with Christopher Nolan, then you'd of course have the Russo brothers, obviously. But if you're just going to say top 3, is there somebody else who clearly knocks out James Gunn in that third spot? I don't think there is. So I'm going to say no. I don't think that's an overreaction. Rob?
I don't think it's an overreaction either. I would like to point out, though, I would like to throw out, and I would be remiss not to do so, Zack Snyder's got to be in that conversation because he did Watchmen. And he did.
But not everybody loves Watchmen.
No, I know, but I'm just saying
that's
in terms of direction, in terms of directors and how many people have, done how many movies.
I mean, he's done a lot.
Watchmen was wildly ambitious too.
It was very ambitious. Yeah. Some people are mentioning like Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler is a great director.
Again, another writer director.
But he's only batting 500 when it comes to his comic book movies. He's made 2. He made the first Black Panther, which is amazing, and he made the second Black Panther, which I don't think is all that amazing. Granted, he made that movie under almost impossible circumstances. So I don't
There's
know,
a lot of great stuff in it, though.
Yeah, but he's done one great one other one, so I don't think you can put him up there yet. So, yeah, again, I would say it's not an overreaction. Rob, is it an overreaction to say that he is a top 3?
No, it's not.
All right. What's next?
Mason says Michael Jackson biopic films will outgross Oppenheimer as the highest grossing biopic in history. Rob, is that an overreaction?
I don't think so. Now, are you including both of them combined? If it's a 2-part biopic?
No, he said each.
Let's assume one.
Let's assume one. I still don't think. I mean, Michael Jackson is one of the great entertainers of all time. You've got multi-generations that grew up with him. I'm one of them, and I think if it's great, I mean, I look at how much Bohemian Rhapsody made.
Yeah.
It came very close. I think Bohemian Rhapsody might have even outgrossed Oppenheimer.
It would have been close because I know they both did over 900 million.
Yeah, and looking at Michael Jackson, I think it's not an overreaction to say that it's possible.
I don't think it's an overreaction at all. I mean, listen, when they first announced the Michael movie, when it was going to be one film, I mean, it's an automatic. That's $1 billion film. It just is. I mean, it's the biggest pop star of all time, and who's, for good and not so good reasons, one of the most fascinating figures in the history of music. Again, for good reasons and for some not so good reasons. But it is true nonetheless. One of the most fascinating figures, one of the most obsessed about figures of all time, probably the most pop culturally influential pop star of all time. There is no way this thing doesn't become the #1 highest grossing biopic of all time. I'm not necessarily saying it's going to be the best. Maybe it will be. You got a terrific director on board with it, with Antoine Fuqua. But making $1 billion, becoming the #1 grossing, to me, that's not even I don't even wonder about it, Rob. Like, to me, it's just a foregone conclusion. It will be. All right. What's next?
Chaos Theory says, because of Superman's success of $600 million in box office, Supergirl will make between $800 and $1 billion in the box office. John, is that an overreaction?
Massive overreaction. That is absolutely an overreaction. I think because of the success of Superman, not just its box office success, but I mean, more importantly, its critical success and its response from the fans' success. I mean, the fans loved it. The critics loved it. It did well. It did better than I thought it would. What that ultimately means is that Supergirl, I think, is going to do, because of Superman's quality and its success, Supergirl will do much better than it would have, but it's still Supergirl. I don't see DC ready to make the $1 billion jump yet. And I think Supergirl, whereas in a vacuum, I would have said that's a $375 million at best movie. Now it's a 500 million, 600 million possible, or maybe even higher, but 800 to $1 billion at this point, this early on, I think that's an overreaction. Rob?
Totally agree with you. I mean, that's not to say the movie, because the storyline, it's going to kick ass. I think the movie's really going to kick ass. It's going to be a very different film.
I agree. I think it's going to be really good.
Than Superman. I think it's going to be really good. And I think that, look, it wouldn't surprise me if that Supergirl movie ended up doing Wonder Woman numbers. I could see that happening. I could see that happening. Because it's got a decent lead in. A lot of people, look, I understand James Gunn's Superman has, as more and more people watch it, there's a lot of people that really love it. There's some people that don't love it as much. But you can't deny that it's a lot of fun.
Sure, but it is fair to say the stats show the vast majority of people really love it.
Yeah.
Here's a question, Jonathan, maybe you can look this up. What comes out first, Lanterns or Supergirl?
Oh, I'm pretty sure Lanterns, but
Yeah.
I'll confirm it.
I mean, that's another thing that could factor into this.
Supergirl's July.
Because Superman was great. Peacemaker's off to a magnificent start.
It just says early 2026, so that has to be before July.
So Peacemaker's great.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Lanterns is also great as an HBO show. There could be a lot of momentum going into Supergirl. I still think it's an overreaction, but I'm sorry. Please continue your thoughts.
No, I mean, I think it's gonna be good. I think the storyline they've chosen is gonna be exciting. I think it's got some darkness to it. It's got real punch. It's got an edge. It's got Lobo, and it's got Crypto again.
It's got Jay Momo.
And and it's going to have Crypto again. That's a good
Crypto's
point.
a big part of that story. So I think it's going to be good. I'm in.
All right.
But
What's next?
It's not 800 to $1 billion.
No, that's no reaction.
All right, here's our final one. AFC says Star Wars Starfighter will be the best Disney era film. Rob, overreaction?
No, I don't think so. If you look at Ryan Gosling and you look at Sean Levy, they have been provided. First of all, we're getting something new. We're getting something that has a group of guys, dudes, and a cast we'll talk about later. That seems to be, it's going to provide something really fun. I think Sean Levy's coming off the triumph of Deadpool and Wolverine. He's got Ryan Gosling, who will be coming off the triumph of Project Hail Mary and everything else he's done. So I think there's the potential. It could very well be the best Disney Star Wars movie.
Yeah, look, I also think that any movie that is the next Star Wars movie, hell, even if they do end up making this Rey movie, which I think is a mistake, but even if they do move forward with it, it's possible that could be the best one they do too, right? It's possible. Is it possible that Starfighter could be the best one of the Disney era? Of course it's possible. For now, I'm going to say it's an overreaction. And the reason I'm going to say it's an overreaction is because we live in a world where Rogue One exists. And that's a high bar.
Yep.
Rogue One is really wonderful. I mean, I thought Andor was better, but that was a TV show. Rogue One's a high bar. So I think to just assume that Star Wars Starfighter will be better than that, I think it's an overreaction. But does it carry the possibility? I'll say it carries the possibility. All right, guys. And that wraps up today's session of Overreaction. You guys sent in some great ones.
Those are
Thank you guys for sending those in. Keep an eye, of course, on our YouTube channel in our posts and community tab for when we put out a call for you guys to send in more scenarios. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, Twilight is coming back to theaters.
Twilight, boy.
Woo! They're bringing it back to theaters. As reported right now in Variety, the Twilight movies re-releasing in theaters for the book, not the movies, but for the book's 20th anniversary this fall. And they're putting them all back out.
Nice.
Putting them all out. And you know what? Right now, I mean, we're doing our movie meetup what we're calling a tour.
Look at how young little Kristen Stewart was.
Oh, and look how young Robert Pattinson looks. But we live in an era right now, even on our little meetups, part of our meetups, we're going to go see The Thing on the big screen. We're going to watch Two Towers. I love that movie theaters are bringing back older films more and more. And you know what? I'm going to say something that is not going to go over well with a lot of people, but it's always lonely being right. Here's the thing. It is time we put some respect on Twilight's name. Now, it of course, like, Twilight movies are not for me. I'm not a particular fan of the Twilight films. That's fine. But you know what? I'm man enough to say, yeah, I don't like those films. They don't work for me. But I got to respect what they did. Because we live in a world, take a look at this. The first Twilight movie made $408 million, which is more than Black Adam, that had Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
And it wasn't a huge budget movie either.
Nope, it came out in 2008. And from there, it just took off. The next one in 2009, The New Moon, made over $700 million. Eclipse made almost $700 million. Breaking Dawn again made over $700 million. And then Breaking Dawn Part 2 made $830 million. And listen, whether you and I liked it or not, from 2008 to 2012, the Twilight franchise was a massive part of the pop cultural consciousness. It was in all of our social media. It was all over the place. It was a huge thing. Everybody talked about Twilight, whether you're pro or anti-Twilight. It got everybody. Listen, it's the first time I can really remember, like with Love Triangle and stuff, like, are you team, I can't remember the name of the characters. There's
Team Edward.
Team Edward, and what was the name of the wolf kid?
I think you nailed it. I think it's Wolf Kid.
It's Wolf Kid. That was his name. It was where are you, Team Edward or Team Jacob? Thank you. Soul AK in the or Sex AK in the lives of Jacob. I mean, that was a big thing. People ask, are you Team Edward or are you Team Jacob? Right? Big thing. Of course, to me, that's ridiculous, but it was what it was. You know, it's not all that different from the fact that I know people don't like that. I'm not a big fan of the K-pop Demon Hunter movie. I didn't like it all that much. But man, I respect what it's been able to do and the popularity. And I think it's time that we start putting some respect on this thing. Because I'm going to tell you what, when they re-release these in theaters, re-releases rarely do a lot of money. But by re-release standards, I bet you a lot of people are going to go see these. And I think it's a good idea for them to bring them back. Anyway, Rob, you heard about this. They're bringing Twilight, the worldwide phenomena, back to theaters. What do you think?
Well, here was the funny thing about when it first came. Look, I'm a huge horror fanatic. I read lots of horror novels in my life. The thing about Twilight was it was meant for girls. And I think more than anything else, it's not that Twilight, the books were bad. The books were a phenomenon, but they were female-centric stories, and they turned those female-centric stories into movies. And I think if you go back and you watch like the first Twilight, I think, didn't Catherine Hardwicke direct the first Twilight?
I think so, yeah.
It has kind of an indie vibe to it in terms of the way it was made. It's a fine film. And I actually like Breaking Dawn Part 1 and Part 2 with the vampire councils. You've broken the...
I was at the world premiere for the final one, whatever the Part 2 was, Breaking Dawn Part 2. I didn't think that was a bad movie.
No,
I don't like the rest of them, but I didn't think that was a bad movie.
They're not genius films, but they're female-centric movies. And I think the problem was we dudes were making fun of those movies. Like, we're not going to watch girl vampires. And it was such a weird, I thought it was such a weird thing. Like, it was a female writer writing a romance novel in the horror space. And look, I don't read Harlequin romance novels, but I don't make fun of them. I understand that Harlequin romance novels have their place, bodice ripping whatever, Fabio on the cover. And these were female-centric horror themed. And that was fine. And I always kind of thought it was silly that we were making fun of these novels.
That's usually a sign of insecurity.
Yeah, but I'm like, I thought it was cool. And look, I don't make fun of any movie that does well like this. This was a hugely profitable look. Lionsgate. This kept Lionsgate afloat. This was huge for Lionsgate.
Oh, it's massive for them. Yeah.
And they needed this, and it was great. Look at what we got. Look at where Pattinson is now. We might make fun of Twilight Boy.
Well, not just Pattinson. She's gone on to become a really acclaimed actress.
Kristen Stewart has she's got her directorial debut coming up.
Yeah, and she's I don't love everything she's been in, but I'm sorry, you're blind if you don't recognize her. She's a really good actress.
She was in a movie that I wouldn't call it a horror movie. I would call it a ghost story called Personal Shopper.
Oh, yeah.
That has one of the most unsettling endings. I love the ending of that movie. But she was great in that movie. And, she can play that sort of angsty, chick. I mean, I like where she went. And I think that the Twilight Zone movies are unfairly maligned, John.
Yeah, again, I don't think they're particularly good.
No.
But you know what I've always respected about them? I've said this before. I kind of like it when a new project or new IP takes a traditional lore and plays with it a little bit.
Sure.
And one of the things they did in Twilight that I always thought was interesting was instead of going with the same old vampire lore, they changed it up a bit.
Yeah.
Every vampire, almost like X-Men mutants, every vampire has their own there's some core abilities that all vampires have. But then each vampire will have its own unique little ability. And instead of, oh no, the sunlight makes us burn on fire, sunlight reveals them. Like the sparkling thing, always hit us as weird, but the idea that instead of just making them burn, sunlight reveals what they really are. Just little things like that. I at least respected that they were taking swings like that. And you know what? Here's the other thing too. The books are celebrating their 20th anniversary. The movies are coming up on 20 years as well. There are going to be people, think about this, that are going to go in to see, maybe their moms are going to take them to go see Twilight when they come out in theaters. And they're going to be sitting in that theater and they're going to go, wait a minute, isn't that Batman Boy? That's Batman Boy was in my mom's favorite movie? Some people are going to start recognizing him as that.
But I think you're right. I mean, you might have a woman who's, 35 to 40 taking her 8-year-old daughter in to see these films as a bonding experience. I mean, at the end of the day, again, you have to think about the audience. And imagine if you're an 8-year-old girl and you've never seen the Twilight movies. You're going to go see them. It becomes a thing with your mom, and you're going to get as captivated at Team Jacob or Team Edward as they did back then. And you can have an experience. And really, it's the power of film. It's the power of storytelling. And I don't begrudge anybody that's going to experience. The only movie I begrudge anybody to watch is The Goonies.
Please.
And Hook.
I'll watch Goonies all day, every day.
I love Hook and Goonies.
Twilight.
I don't care what anybody says.
The thing about Hook, I think, is a weak Steven Spielberg movie, but The Goonies is insufferable.
Okay.
It's different.
Anyway, guys,
Goonies, Hook has a great score.
the question is for you. What do you think about this? Twilight is coming back to theaters. Now, I understand it if you don't rush out to see it again. I'm not going to rush out to see it again either. But I think by re-release standards, I think a lot of people are going to. And I think it's time we kind of respect what this franchise was able to accomplish.
And again, you know what? They're giving a theatrical experience to a
Yep.
new generation of people that might not ever have been able to see the Twilight movies on a big screen.
Guys, whatever you think about all this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Streaming, newsflash, keeps getting more and more expensive. And one of the ways that we've talked before about how they can kind of limit the price a little bit and hopefully reduce churn, which is the number one mission of streamers right now, is to reduce churn. For those of you who don't know, churn is a phrase we use when people sign up for a streaming service, watch the show they want to watch, and when that show's done, they unsubscribe and wait until another thing comes on to resubscribe. It's called the churn, and that is the number one thing that streamers are trying to fight against. We've often talked about bundling, and bundles are good ideas. Well, there's a new bundle being offered that I think is going to be very appealing to some people. But there is right now a catch. Hollywood Reporter is now letting us know that there is a new bundle coming that is Netflix, Disney Plus, and Apple TV for $16 a month. However, it's only going to be in Canada for now. Again, Hollywood Reporter writes the following. Amid declining cable viewership industry-wide, Canadian media giant Rogers, which, by the way, in Canada, Rogers is like Taco Bell in whatever that, what was the name of the Sylvester Stallone future movie? Where
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man. It's like
just
Taco
everything.
Bell was in Demolition. Rogers runs the phone is the biggest main phone company. They run your home internet. They were Blockbuster. We didn't have Blockbuster. We had Rogers Video. Like it was like Rogers everything. Anyway,
They own the Blue Jays.
at least they did. They may
Or at least-
still. I don't know.
But
Anyway.
I don't.
Canadian media giant Rogers has unveiled a new streaming plan that brings together Netflix, Disney Plus, and Apple TV Plus for its subscribers.
All right.
The Rogers Xfinity Stream Savers plan first rolled out in Western Canada before becoming available later this year in the rest of the country. It's priced at $22 Canadian, that's $16 American per month. Rogers estimates the savings from Stream Saver bundle will be around 30%.
Pretty good.
Month to month compared to subscribing for each individual service separately. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine before the show started. While you can point to some like Comcast has a bundle, right? Where you can get, Netflix and this and everything in on it too. But in order to have that, you have to have their $100 a month cable package, which I haven't had a cable package in over 10 years, and I have no plans on ever getting a cable package again. This is, as long as you're a subscriber of their internet service, which you got to have internet anyway, and I think most people in Canada probably use Rogers Internet as it is, straight up, $16 a month. You get Netflix, Disney Plus, and Apple TV Plus. The catch, besides it just being in Canada at the moment, is that it's the ad-supported tiers, which is not going to surprise anybody. So it's going to be the ad-supported tier of Netflix, the ad-supported tier of Disney Plus. I don't know if Apple TV Plus has an ad-supported tier. I don't think they do.
They don't.
So you get the full no ads Apple TV Plus.
The lame thing though is that with Netflix is they reduce it's only like 720p with their ads for some stupid reason.
Yeah, they and there's a few other restrictions as well. Now, there's also here's this thing. All your favorites one spot. It's all on Xfinity Stream Saver store just for $15 a month, includes Netflix. And you can they also have another package with Peacock instead of Apple or instead of Disney Plus, which I'd rather have Disney Plus than Peacock. Although Peacock's
By the way,
pretty
did you
good.
notice last week when we talked about the rising prices of Apple Plus that Peacock raised their prices $3 a month too?
Yep. I mean, listen, again,
Those tricky dicks.
they hit it behind the price rise.
I got an email and I'm like, and they just did it. They charged it. They sent that email out the day they charged you an extra $3.
So, I mean, the price is going up, which means bundles are going to become more and more appealing. I don't know why I still haven't done it. I've been wanting to do this for months, and I've never gotten around to canceling because I have Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max. But there's a bundle available right now where you can get all three of them. And it would save me tons of money, but I've just never gotten around to canceling all the other ones and signed up for the bundle. I got to get around to do that. Anyway, Rob, do you think bundles like this that are standalone bundles, like you don't have to have some other service in order to be able to do it, do you think this will become an answer for a lot of people? Like if they offered a bundle that was, say, Netflix, Disney Plus, Apple TV, Peacock, and Paramount for like $28 a month or something like that. Do you think that would be something that a lot of consumers would be attracted to, or would they still just rather pay for individual things?
Honestly, I think there's a bundle in all of our ovens in our future because I do think that bundles are going to be the way to go, only because it is becoming like, I'm thinking about how like that really was. I did get an email from Peacock, and the same day they charged me $3 more. And I'm like, I know it's only $3, but at the end of the day, if I'm paying $20 extra a month, that's one less Blu-ray or 4K I can buy, usually Blu-ray. And that adds up over the course of a year, a couple $100. That's just in additional fees to what I'm already paying.
Right.
And I think it's going to have to be to the point where you're going to have bundles, because who wants to be paying, I could see us paying $150 a month for various streaming services. And that's just a lot of money. And I think, and then you always point out, eventually we're back to the cable model.
Oh, we're already paying more than we did for cable. We already are. Yeah.
It's frustrating. I find myself like, I only watch, like I don't do a lot of searching around and watch random stuff on my.
Yeah, you don't do streaming roulette.
No, I watch specific shows. Like right now, love having Hulu because of Alien Earth. And then something's dropping. Terminal List, Black Dove, or whatever the hell it's called, is on Netflix now. I want to watch that. So I'm very show specific. And so it really depends. I mean, I'm a candidate for a churner, but if I had a good bundle, I would go with that every day and twice on Sunday.
Yeah. Now, again, for me, the reason I would not sign up for this bundle is I don't want ads.
Right. No, I don't
want ads.
No.
And I have not seen them offer the non-ad supported tier because, again, streaming is becoming more and more like cable. Streaming realized, we'll make more money. Because remember, one of the big things we've always said about the trick with streaming is if you're Netflix, if 10 people watch a movie, or if 10 million people watch a movie, you don't make 1 penny more.
No.
Because everybody's subscribed already, so it really doesn't make a difference. But you know when it makes a difference? If there are commercials, just like cable. So now they're trying to corral and herd people into the ad-supported tiers because they're finding out they make more money, but I don't want the ads.
But also, it's just annoying. The way that cable shows are... Look, broadcast television was designed to have ads inserted into it. And I find so often, I mean, some of the things like Alien Earth does have a few interstitial moments where it looks like ads are supposed to go.
Right.
Which I understand because they're going to move it over to different platforms. But I find in the modern age, ads are in the middle of, YouTube has become just inundated with ads. And it's like, come on, who wants to watch this?
Yeah, I get it. I mean,
I do too. It ain't show friends, it's show business.
Yeah, again, for me, and I understand, like, listen, we're all cost conscious, but for me, it's like for $7 extra a month, and that'll save me, like, considering how much I watch my streamers, $7 extra a month, probably figure it's saving you 7 minutes per episode you watch of anything.
Yeah.
$7 to save me 3, 4, 5 hours a month. To me, that is well worth the extra $7.
I totally agree with you. You're buying yourself time, more time in your own life.
Yeah. I mean, now granted, if you're only going to watch 10 or 11 episodes a month of anything on streaming, okay, yeah, I get it. But like when you watch as much streaming as I do, and I know a lot of you do, add up how many ads are you watching every month in time? And then is $7 worth it to save that much time? And that's kind of the question I asked myself. But anyway, to each their own, of course. Guys, question is for you. What do you think of this little bundle of joy? At least only available in Canada right now. Netflix, Disney Plus, and Apple TV Plus for $16 American a month. That's pretty good, even if it is ad-supported. What do you think about the future of bundling? It's just becoming more and more like cable. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this, shall we? Of course, one of the movies I'm really excited about over the next couple of years is Star Wars Strarfighter, starring Ryan Gosling and Sean Levy. And since then, we found out a couple of other names. Mia Goth got attached to it, which was amazing. Matt Smith joined it, which was amazing. And now today, we found 2 more names. One of the most nominated Oscar actresses of all time, and one of the hottest guys out there right now have also joined it, as the Hollywood Reporter reporting that 6-time Academy Award nominee Amy Adams and the new Lantern star Aaron Pierre.
He's so hot right now.
He is, so hot right now. Hansel. Have joined the cast of Star Wars Strarfighter. Hollywood Reporter said the following. The latest Star Wars movie, Star Wars Strarfighter, began rolling cameras in the United Kingdom on Thursday. So the production is actually now happening. They're shooting this movie. When's the last time we've been able to say the production on this new Star Wars movie has started? Other than Mandalorian movie, that's just an exaggerated episode of a TV show. Anyway,
Right.
With Lucasfilm marking the occasion by unveiling the full cast. Flynn Gray, who I don't know off the top of my head, Aaron Pierre, Simon Bird, Jamel Westman, Daniel Ings, and Amy Adams are the new additions on the call sheet for the Lucasfilm feature, which is being directed by Sean Levy and stars Ryan Gosling. I feel a profound sense of excitement and honor as we begin production on Star Wars Strarfighter, said Levy in a statement. From the day Kathleen Kennedy called me up, inviting me to develop an original adventure in the incredible Star Wars galaxy, this experience has been a dream come true, creatively and personally. Star Wars shaped my sense of what story can do, how characters and cinematic moments can live with us forever. To join this storytelling galaxy with such brilliant collaborators on screen and off is the thrill of a lifetime. All right, a couple of other things they highlighted in the article was the fact that this movie, Strarfighter, will indeed take place 5 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker, which was so terrible, but it's going to take place 5 years after the events. I do not believe we're going to see any crossover characters in it, which I'm totally good with. And it's going to be kind of a new kind of story that we're going to have. Okay. I was already excited about this film because Sean Levy, listen, forget his entire body of work. Just the last few years, the stuff he's done, I've really loved. The Adam Project, I thought was really wonderful. Free Guy is one of my true, most delightfully pleasant surprise movies of the past decade. I love Free Guy. His work, everybody keeps forgetting about his work on Stranger Things as well. He was one of the key pivotal guys on Stranger Things. And then, of course, he stepped into Deadpool and Wolverine and gave me one of the hardest laughs for over the course of 2+ hours that I've ever had in a movie theater. I loved it. So he's coming on there. You got Ryan Gosling, who coming off, I thought was a brilliant Fall Guy movie. Now he's got what could be a Best Picture contender in Project Hail Mary coming out. That was already great. And then they added Matt Smith, and that was already great. They have literally now added one of the most decorated actresses of all time. I mean, she's not the street monster, but Amy Adams 6 times has been nominated for Academy Awards. That's how much her acting peers think of her. She's like one of the best on the planet. And now one of the hottest guys out there, as far as career trajectory goes, with Aaron Pierre.
And just hot in general.
Just handsome man in general.
Him and Mike Colter.
He may not be my Mike Colter. He may not be a Mike Colter, but he's still a very, very handsome man. The level of talent that is lining up to be involved in this project is inspiring. Dude, look, I'm looking forward to seeing Mandalorian. I am. Okay.
Sure.
But I would be lying to you if I said, I would be disingenuous if I said to you, I was super excited for it. I'm not. I'm hoping it's good. I've got all the faith in the world in Jon Favreau, but I'd be lying if I said I was super excited for it. This is the first time in a long time, man, that I can say I am so excited for this Star Wars movie. I cannot wait. I'm now, maybe it's unfair, but I'm putting a lot of faith in this movie. Again, it's not going to be Andor. It's going to be very, very different from Andor.
Sure.
But I am putting a lot of trust in this movie to re-spark my total, complete, and obsessive love of Star Wars on the big screen and in film. And the new additions just add to that for me, man. Anyway, Rob, you heard about these new additions. What's standing out to you?
Well, again, this is a prestige project. That's what it says to me.
Yeah.
You know, if Amy Adams signed on, she's not going to sign on because, oh, it sucked. You know, she's signing on because she likes the collaborators she's working with. She clearly liked the material. Same with Aaron Pierre, Matt Smith. What an eclectic cast. What excites me, John, about this movie is we already have, you know, the Rogue Squadron novels that came out like in the 90s. Those were good books. And those were not contingent necessarily upon the Skywalker saga, lightsabers, Jedi Knights. We're again, like with Andor, we're going to start exploring a different part of the Star Wars universe, which is something they really haven't done before. Even The Mandalorian and Grogu is sort of tentatively connected to the Skywalker saga. So it's cool to see them doing this, and I'm excited for it, if for no other reason than we're going to explore a different part of the Star Wars galaxy. Who doesn't love X-Wing fighter pilots? I mean, come on, Gold Leader. I mean, I'm sorry for what happened to him, but still, he was rad. And I think it's going to be cool to see this. I think, again, they probably looked at something like Top Gun Maverick, which was almost a Star Wars movie into itself.
Kind of
like,
was, yeah.
You know, like, that's the way to do it. Now, imagine these aren't cadets. Imagine these are all seasoned veterans of probably the Battle of Exegol. You know, or maybe there's some new young whippersnappers. I don't know. But I mean, I love this idea. I loved it when when Patty Jenkins was going to do a Rogue Squadron movie. I love this now. And I'm like you. I'm really excited for it. The people they've got involved, very excited. You know, I don't think Ryan Gosling, he's pretty good with material.
Yeah.
I don't think that he would take this or let Sean Levy talk him into it if it wasn't good. So I'm looking forward to it a lot, actually.
So, by the way, I'm going over to the IMDb page. Again, listen, I understand the skepticism some people have because Star Wars has been very hit and miss under Disney. But they're coming off of the greatest Star Wars thing ever since the original trilogy with the Andor, which was just unbelievable. But Sean Levy being on it, I think, is absolutely incredible. And by the way, the guy writing the screenplay for it is Jonathan Tropper. And I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He did that new hit series, Your Friends and Neighbors. He wrote and created Warrior, which is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
He wrote The Adam Project for Sean Levy. So he's worked with Sean Levy on that before. He did Banshee, which I know a lot of people really like.
I love.
You love Banshee.
Yeah, so he's got a very eclectic. Okay, I didn't realize I didn't really look into who was writing it, but I'm in now.
So you got Sean Levy directing it. You got this guy writing it. You have this cast who's reading the scripts are going, yeah, including a 6-time Oscar-nominated actress going, yeah, I want to be a part of that. I get skepticism some people have, but at some point you're being skeptical just to be skeptical. Again, could this movie end up being a total crapfest disaster? Absolutely it could. 100% it could. But I see a lot of reason, I don't see a lot of reason to be super excited for Mandalorian, but I do see a lot of reason to be excited for
100%, dude. I'm in.
So, I mean, now we just gotta wait. And they're actually shooting the damn movie, unlike the 20 other Star Wars movie they've announced and have mysteriously disappeared over the years. This one's actually shooting right now. So, yeah, I'm pretty stoked. Maybe it'll be the thing to reignite the fire of passionate Star Wars fandom. Maybe it'll be the next load of crap. Who knows? But I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic.
I'm with you. I'm 100% optimistic about this. Who doesn't? I mean, since I was 10 years old buying Star Wars toys, I've been having X-Wing fighters buzz around my head. So I'm looking forward to this. Although I have to say, we don't know that it's got X-Wing fighters in that. It could be
totally
Jedi
something else.
Starfighters. It could be maybe they're designing an all new. I would love it if they had the next, whatever the next generation is of Starfighter. Something, maybe that's what it's all about. The rollout of a brand new, could be
Maybe.
it could be even cooler. The next generation X-Wing. Bring it on, baby.
All right,
Show
guys.
me something new.
Question is for you. What do you think about this? The addition of 6-time Academy Award nominee Amy Adams and the guy who's starring in the new Lantern series, Arron Pierre, have joined, Ryan Gosling, Matt Smith, Mia Goth, and director Sean Levy in the new Star Wars Starfighter film. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, it's time for us to bid good afternoon to Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, my friend. We'll see you tomorrow.
See me tomorrow. I'm coming out here tomorrow because there's a big Gundam event at your local hobby store.
Oh, that's right. Are you hoping to go home with a couple of new
I don't know.
figures?
They said they got some special things to maybe a couple of new mobile suits. Don't know. I just love seeing the work of great modelers.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And we are now going to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick moment and thank the sponsor of today's episode, our friends over at Wednesday's WoCast.
Hey guys, John here. If you're dying for the next batch of Wednesday Season 2 to drop on Netflix, then I'll let you in on a secret. The Wednesday Season 2 official WoCast is already here. Prepare to dive deeper into the mysteries of Wednesday with the ultimate companion video podcast. Join the frightfully funny Caitlin Riley, along with her producer, Thing, as she sits down with the marvelous cast and crew. Together, they'll unravel shocking twists, dissect the dynamics lurking beneath, unearth the deep Addams family lore, and answer all of your lingering questions that simply refuse to stay buried. Guests include Emma Myers, Joy Sunday, Steve Buscemi, Fred Armiston, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and of course, Jenna Ortega. With 8 delightfully dark episodes to devour, you'll be drawn deeper into the haunting halls of Nevermore Academy than ever before. But be careful, you know where curiosity often leads. The Wednesday Season 2 official WoCast is available now in audio and video on todoom.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts. You've been warned.
All right, guys, with that all down, let's move on to your comments and questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Gabe says, hey, John, there is a cast member in the upcoming full cast audiobook production of Harry Potter that will be in the upcoming HBO Max Harry Potter show that is none other than Arabella Stanton as Hermione.
Oh, so someone
is crossing over.
So for those of you who don't know, Audible is putting out a full new audio book production of the Harry Potter books. And Hugh Laurie is going to be Dumbledore, and they've got their own all-star cast, but it's different from the cast in the show. But you're telling us that the person who's playing Hermione in the new show is also doing the voice in the audio drama book of it. That's interesting. I didn't know they were going to have any of the crossover.
This is on the same topic, and it's actually pretty interesting too. Last one, the topic a few days ago about who would play Voldemort. You mentioned Matthew McFadden. Well, guess what? He's playing Voldemort in the audiobook.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I had no idea he was doing it in the audiobook. I just kind of thought, hey, Matthew McFadden, he's an Emmy Award winner. Make him, he would be great. I had no idea, but that's pretty cool that he's going to be the voice of Voldemort in the audiobook anyway. All right, what's next?
And in my head, Gabe says, hello again, John. I'm 38, and for the first time ever, I'll be seeing Jaws in IMAX to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the movie. Better late than never. I'll be seeing it in IMAX today as well.
Oh, wait, so it's not just that you've never seen on the big screen. You've never seen it. Oh, well, now you're going to get... It's like movies like Jaws, the original Star Wars, and especially Godfather. I love it when people see those movies for the first time, because once they do, particularly Godfather, once you do, I get to see the eureka moments come over them when they realize, oh, all these references and things and tropes done in movies that I've seen for the past 40, 50 years of my life, that's where it came from. And I'm not just saying like, oh, that's where the phrase, sleeping with the fishes come from. But I'm saying like a kind of thing happens in Godfather. And then you realize, oh my God, there's like 50 movies I've seen that have kind of been influenced by that, right? Jaws is one of those movies, not to the same level as say Star Wars or Godfather, but Jaws is one of those as well.
Yeah.
And I've never seen Jaws on the big screen. I'm looking forward to seeing it on the big screen for the first time. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Raven's haired songbird says, you aren't the only person who thinks Matthew McFadden would be a good Voldemort. We just covered this, but Audible cast him as Voldemort in the new full cast audiobooks.
Oh, thank you, Raven Haired. Because they also said they loved our show.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I had no idea. I knew the Hugh Laurie thing, but I didn't know anybody else that was cast in. Now I also know that apparently the girl who plays Hermione in the show is going to be in it, which is kind of interesting. Weird, but interesting. Yeah, I think he's going to do a great job at it. I really do. All right, what's next?
1.21 Jellywatts says, hi, John and crew. I think one reason we are all so attached to the season 1 opening song of Peacemaker is how our view of the song was changed by the transition to the opening of each episode. I have high expectations for this new opening number as we go.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's just the opening number. It is what it is. But I loved that opening in season 1. And again, if the opening to season 2 was the opening to season 1, and we got used to it, and that's what we knew, and then the opening from season 1 was now the opening for season 2, maybe I'd have the same reaction. Oh, I don't like this as much. It's because that's what I got used to. I do love that season 1 opening. I do kind of wish they kept the same song, but I'm going to see if the opening to season 2, by the way, next episode is tonight. Can't wait to watch it. But we'll see if it grows on me like the first one did. All right, what's next?
Wyatt says, I'm not against Papa being Snape, but I am concerned in the books, James told Snape he bullied him for simply existing. That could have a different connotation with Snape being black. They could do it differently, but a bit worried they could F it up.
That's an easy thing. Like it wasn't just Harry's dad. It was also him and his friends. Yeah. Just all you got, like I've heard other people use that excuse. So many people have used that excuse. Well, no, now if they bully him, it's going to be racism that they did it.
No.
Well, simple. Make 1 or 2 of James's friends also black characters.
Right.
That, just like that, fixes
Done.
the problem. That totally takes that out of the equation.
They made fun of him because he was goth and he was weird. He's bookish. And they were more, type A. So.
Yeah, again, I think all you got to do is just make 1 or 2 of his friends also like non-white characters, which is something they should do anyway.
That was
and
one...
it completely takes away any possibility of that being a problem.
On that subject.
Easy fix.
On that subject. And not about the race thing, but on Harry's dad. At some point, he matured. At some point, he became a good person and laid his life on the line to fight Voldemort. And the movies didn't have enough time to explore that. And I hope the series does. Because it's like, oh, wait, was he a villain? No, not his whole life. As a little shit kid, yes, he was. But he grew up and.
But guess what? Everybody were little shit kids.
Yeah. So I want them to show that.
Shitty little kid. So, like all of us, if we could all go back and see all the things we did when we were kids, sometimes we were the dick kid. All of us were. And I hope they do explore that as well. It's like, he's no different than every other kid.
He grew up and became
that
kind.
Sometimes he got the short end of the stick and sometimes he was the dick. I mean, that's all kids. So yeah, I hope they do explore that a little bit.
They have more time. James Wheeler says, hello, everyone. Someone yesterday asked which director has the most acting Oscars wins in their movies. The answer is William Wyler with 14. That makes sense. Because, I mean, you're going back.
Yeah, like that. Shit, that like way. I mean, there were some advantages to that. And obviously that does make a lot more sense. But man, 14, that blows away. Because
Ben-Hur, Best Years of Our Lives, yeah. Roman Holiday, Funny Girl.
Because some of the ones we were looking at yesterday was like, we came up with a few names and like, oh, this person had 5 actors nominated for things. Because that, yeah, you go back to that era, you'll probably get a lot more. That probably.
Yeah, because that was like 50s, 40s. Yeah.
Yeah. What about John Ford?
That'd be interesting too.
I wonder how many he had. Yeah. Anyway. All right. What's next?
Ridge. Hey, John, what movie from pre-2000 would you want to see come back for a re-release in the theaters I've been loving the recent re-releases TMNT Batman since I never saw them in theaters. See you in Denver.
I'm looking forward.
Pre-2000s?
Looking forward to doing pre-2000. I'm terrible with movie dates. I can't remember what was pre-2000, what wasn't. To be honest with you, I don't know. When did honestly, I don't know. That's something I'd have to sit down and think about for a while.
How about A Fish Called Wanda? Just
God,
put that in theaters.
Was that pre-2000?
Oh, yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah, Fish Called Wanda. That is on my top 10 favorite comedies of all time list. Is A Fish Called Wanda. Oh, no.
That was 88. That was pre-90s.
That was 88.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Fish Called Wanda is so damn good. I would love it if they re-released that. Oh, John Cleese. All right. What's next?
Atomic Brunette. Hey, John, just got back from a live taping of the Town podcast with Matt Bellany and special guest, your favorite Adam Arron. It was a really interesting discussion on the state of the theater industry, theatrical windows, and AMC's plans.
I'll have to give that a listen.
Hey, I'll give him a shout out because you know how you're like sometimes AMC does something right and they give the audience something back or whatever.
Yeah.
So I had the AMC branded like Visa card and I used it because I got extra points if I used it for concessions and stuff. Well, their partner like they're moving on, so that AMC card is going away, so it's getting discontinued. But they gave me they gave me $25 in like money to use in the theaters. So that's cool.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do that.
I mean, listen, AMC does some really stupid, terrible things. But you guys know I always try to be fair. I always point out they actually do a number of things very well, which is still why they're the movie theater that I choose to go to when all other things are being equal. Like, don't get me wrong, I would go to a Regal more often if there was one closer to me, or a Cinemark if there was one closer to me, or a Harkins if there was one closer to me, for sure. But, you know, they do a lot of good things. It's just that, you know, my own personal evaluation of it is that you got to understand, I was working at AMC when Jerry Sanchez was the CEO, and he was beloved, and he was smart, and he was calculated, and he was great. Everybody loved Jerry. And my own personal evaluation of the job that Adam Arron has done is he's a clown. And I feel bad saying that because, like, some people I've spoken to who have had the opportunity to work with Adam Arron is that he's I'm just telling you what I've been told, is that he's legitimately a really nice guy. That I've been told that by a couple of people that Adam Arron is, from what I've been told, is legitimately a really nice guy. But I think he's a terrible CEO for a movie theater chain. When I look at the things that he's done I just think he's really bad at it. He might be a super nice guy, but I think he's done a terrible job as the CEO of that company. Anyway, it would be interesting to hear him on that podcast and hear how he addresses some things. All right, what's next?
Rogue One. Hey, John, I hear you guys asking who are even the Avengers currently. Do you think that's because, unlike Infinity War, we don't have a movie like Civil War, Ragnarok, etc., to set up where the OG characters are to begin Doomsday, F4, and Thunderbolts, PC scene, set up those teams?
No, I don't think that has anything to do with that. I think we're going to go into the Avengers movies. Avengers movies, I think, are going to be less about the Avengers and more about the collective MCU universe, right? Because listen, even if we look at the last couple of Avengers movies, like Avengers Doomsday and whatever, there's a lot of characters in there who are not Avengers. Doctor Strange isn't an Avenger, right? I remember Benedict Cumberbatch came out and made a real big thing about it. Doctor Strange is not in the Avengers. He's in the Avengers movie, but he's not an Avenger. The Guardians of the Galaxy are not Avengers at the time, although Rocket might become an Avenger at some point. Anyway, be that as it may. And then I read a couple of interesting articles, like one in Slash Film the other day, that is proposing, you know what? Avengers Doomsday is actually Thunderbolts 2. They are the Avengers. The Thunderbolts are the Avengers. So this is actually like Thunderbolts 2, which is kind of interesting. So maybe we do know who the Avengers are, but I don't know. We'll just see how they're going to kind of cobble that together once we get to Doomsday. All right, what's next?
Rogue One. Hey, John and crew, I give the MCU a lot of slack for being the first to be about this cinematic universe thing, as Rhodey would say. I think James Gunn witnessing the minor blunders, some are kind of major blunders, makes him the absolute perfect engineer at WB learning from the MCU.
Well, it's not just that James Gunn was learning from the MCU. He was part of it. I mean, he was part, he got to see the things that worked, and he got to see up close what didn't.
He had to deal with those bankers firsthand, making those decisions.
And, I just think that put him in a really interesting spot. And remember, Kevin Feige recognized the talent that James Gunn had, because not only did he hand him these Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but remember, right before Disney fired him, Kevin Feige designated James Gunn as kind of his right-hand guy. Remember, they kind of set it up that James Gunn was going to be the main architect of the galactic side of the MCU. But we never got to see where that was going to go, because shortly after that, him and Disney parted ways and all that kind of stuff. So fine. James Gunn leaves. Every studio in Hollywood lined up to give him offers. Warner Brothers won the lottery. And now he goes over there, and he's been able to bring all that, the lessons, the good and the bad that he learned from the MCU, and bring them over as well. And now you got two guys. By the way, Kevin Feige and James Gunn are still very close. They're good friends. And it's going to be really interesting to see what he does with this cinematic universe moving forward. And he's started off great, so we'll see where it goes. All right, what's next?
We got Anonymous Blake, who says in baseball, they have stats that take into account for ERA, that's earn run and average, run scoring environment, etc. You have ERA, but also ERA plus, which accounts for these factors. I wonder if something similar could be done with box office. Wouldn't be perfect, but perhaps interesting.
You just can't. You can't compare eras, because there's just too many variables that work into it. We talked about it before, trying to bring up, and we've already made a video about this. You can go and look it up. Just look up John Campea box office inflation, and why it's a fool's errand to try to bring inflation into it. Because again, like, you're talking about one movie where when it was in theaters, there were 40% more moviegoers than there were today. Or you're talking about one movie that when it was in theaters, even taking inflation into account, tickets were 60% cheaper than they are today. So of course more people were going to buy tickets and go to them. When one movie came out in one era, well, guess what? Kids weren't spending their money on PlayStations and Xboxes and video games and those services and season passes and all that kind of stuff. They had their money instead that they could spend on going to the movies. There's just 1,000 of those variables that just make it uncalculable. And that's why it's not the perfect, but the most optimal way to just look at it is just by the straight numbers. And there is no way to account for all of those variables, because not only do you have 1,000 variables, but every era has its own unique set of variables.
Yeah.
Right? Like right now, one of the unique things, as opposed to like 2017, 2018, today is we live in a post-pandemic world where movie going fundamentally changed. Now they're streaming. And anyway, there's just too many things to ever come up with a real fair equation for it. So you just got to go by the straight numbers. Not perfect, but it's the best option. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, don't know if you saw, but the Red Band trailer for Sisu Road to Revenge dropped yesterday. Looks glorious. Stephen Lang plays the villain this time. Can't wait to see what this director does with Rambo.
Yeah, I love the first Sisu. I have not watched this new trailer yet. Just to be honest, I haven't seen the new trailer yet, but I'm very, very interested in it, because I thought the first one was so brutal. Like, especially like when the girls are like in the truck, like, what are you laughing at? She's like, you have no idea what's coming for you. You have no idea what's coming for you. And then he shows up and he like just starts killing everybody. It's so great. I am really looking forward to this, but I haven't watched the trailer yet. I got to do that today sometime. All right, what's next?
Bartlett says, "Hey John, would you ever actually make a topic about Nizza 2 about how the box office numbers aren't to be trusted? I feel like it could be a good education lesson for folks and to not take something like this at face value."
No, I mean, because what can be said in a full segment? Simply this. I do not believe the numbers because China does not submit their data to third-party vetting like every other country in the world does. And isn't it convenient that a Chinese-produced Chinese movie is being reported by the Chinese government at being this huge number? Okay, if you want to believe it, feel free to believe it. I do not. And by the way, this isn't new. There have been a number of films that have come out of China in the last 10 years that I've always brought this up with. This isn't a new thing for me. And now that like Nizza 2, like a lot of movies, you release them in North America and they're huge. Guess what happens when you release them in other countries? Most of the time, they're also pretty big in all those other countries. Nobody's going to see Nizza 2 anywhere else. Sorry, it just is. So if China submitted its data to go through third-party vetting processes like every other country in the world does, I would give it more credit. But it doesn't. And that's why I've said for many, many, many years, this is not new. All right. You can go back to my movie blog days. I am very skeptical of any reporting that comes out of China. I always have been. And that certainly doesn't change with Nizza 2. So I know. So when people say like, well, John, somebody brought up the other day, we were talking about, is there any movie that could possibly beat the upcoming Avatar as the #1 box office film of the year? And I said, well, no, like you've got Zootopia 2. Then a lot of people say, John, you forgot about Nizza 2. No, I didn't forget about it. I just don't believe that at all. I don't believe that number can be trusted. I don't believe there's any veracity to it. Is it possible it could be legitimate? Absolutely. But I have felt for many, many, many years, because of their process and because of their lack of vetting and lack of QC, I don't trust Chinese box office reporting. I just don't. Anyway. All right. What's next?
We got Anonymous, who says, "I was today years old when I found out that Sisu sequel, Road to Revenge, is coming out in theaters in November. Also going to see Jaws 50th at 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Nice.
Got to see a great movie that came out 4 years before I was born. Any chance I get. Have a great day, guys."
Yeah, I'm excited about getting a chance to watch Jaws on the big screen. Again, that's the way to watch these movies. That's how they were intended to be seen. And I've never had a chance to see Jaws on the big screen, so I'm really, really stoked about it. I hope you have a good time. All right, what's next?
Raymond Verrata says, "Saw the news about Cobra Kai creators handling Knight Rider. How will Kit handle the world of AI? There was an interview with James Cameron on what he thinks about AI. I already warned you in '84. He said, do Airwolf next, Cobra Kai guys."
Yeah, again, that's why I feel like when Knight Rider, and I said this in the segment earlier, when Knight Rider came out, the concept of Kit was very sci-fi. Today, it's shifted. It's not really all that sci-fi, but it's actually more appropriate to our era. Having a fully self-autonomous AI running that car is not that big of a leap from where we are right now. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they do it. Now, the difference with Airwolf is Airwolf was never Kit. Airwolf was never a self-aware. Airwolf was just a really advanced helicopter. It wasn't an AI. It wasn't an artificial intelligence. It wasn't a character. It was just a really badass helicopter. So I don't know what the point would be of doing another Airwolf or Blue Thunder. By the way, Blue Thunder was great too. But it's going to be really interesting to see what their approach is going to be with Kit in an AI world. All right, what's next?
Mr. I, if you decide to go do a North Coast Cleveland area trip, please wait till spring. As you know from being from Hamilton, the roads can be bad in the winter. We'll definitely come out to a meetup. If you do, by the way, the Sisu comment was me, Mr. I.
Yeah, so we are going to try to hit the East Coast and Northeast, Buffalo. Who knows, maybe even go to Kevin Smith's movie theater in New Jersey. Whatever. We're going to try to do that this year, but we're definitely going to do it before December. Because I don't want to drive, as a Canadian who grew up driving in winters, I do not want to try to drive this van in Northeast or Canadian winters. So probably at the very latest would probably be like mid-November that we do that. But we're still planning it out, and we'll see how we work it out. All right, what's next?
Kareem has our movie and TV milestones, anniversaries from the last 2 weeks, August 17th to the 30th. So up to 40 years. 2020 was 5 years ago. Bill and Ted Face the Music. The New Mutants, you remember that one.
Oh, yes.
10 years ago, 2015, is Narcos, which was great. And then The 40-Year-Old Virgin, 20 years ago. The Proud Family, Prison Break. 30 years ago, 95, was Mortal Kombat. And then 1985, 40 years ago, Teen Wolf and American Ninja.
American Ninja. You know, the Bill and Ted Face the Music, which I think was a pretty bad movie, to be honest with you. I will unfortunately always associate that with a real tragedy. Because it was when me, Anne, and our friend Ryan were sitting down in our living room. It was the night the movie, I believe it was the night the movie came out. It might have been the next day, whatever. But we were sitting down to watch Bill and Ted Face the Music. And that's when I saw it on my phone that Chadwick Boseman had died. And you know, it's odd because that's why I associate with that. What was it called? The Bank Job, the Jason Statham movie.
Right.
I think it was called The Bank Job. I was in a screening at Lionsgate's offices watching The Bank Job. And when me and a bunch of other journalists came out of that, we all turned on our phones and looked down on our phones. It's like, oh my God, Heath Ledger died. And I kind of have the same experience now with that with Bill and Ted. It's like I was watching Bill and Ted when the news came across that we had lost Chadwick Boseman. Yeah, it's going to be really unfortunate now thing that I'm going to have that associated with. All right, what's next?
Well, definitely wasn't going to hit my 69 dude soundbite after that.
No.
Mike Watson would rather have Tom Cruise. Oh, would you rather have? So these are some options. Tom Cruise make more Mission Impossible movies, or follow a new character in the same timeline, or have a complete reboot with a young Ethan Hunt played by someone in their early 20s onward. Not early 20s. They would have to be much more mature.
Yeah, they'd have to be a little bit more of an advance because Ethan's already supposed to be kind of established.
Yeah.
I think I would rather see new characters in the Mission Impossible universe and move forward rather than start it all over again. But I would be open to that. I honestly, listen, I like the new Mission Impossible. I do, but I think it's run out of steam with Tom Cruise. And I say that with all due respect to Tom Cruise, obviously. But I think the time for Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies are over. So either continue on in the universe, focusing on different characters in it, maybe that have been associated with Ethan Hunt, or reboot the franchise in 5 years. But so I would take either of those options. All right, what's next?
Disney Gifts by Bryce. Mr. Campy, I just rewatched Pacific Rim. It was my wife's first time watching it.
Oh, nice.
Every time I was thinking to myself, man, that is cool. What a fun movie. I know it's not the best movie, but it did give us, today we are canceling the apocalypse.
Yeah, but you know what wasn't so good?
Part 2?
Part 2. Yeah, part 2 was not so good.
Kaiju Boogaloo?
Which is really unfortunate. But that first one is fun, man. First one's fun. What was the name of his mech? Tango something?
Gosh, I can't call.
Tango Danger? Danger Tango? I can't, guys in the live chat, what was the name of his Gypsy Danger? That's what it was. Not Tango Danger. Gypsy Danger. Man, that first movie was pretty fun. Was it great cinema? No, it had a few flaws, but it was a fun movie. It is really unfortunate the way the second one just did not deliver. That's really too bad. Because that, I think, if they had delivered on the second one, I think we could have had a great franchise. I think that could have been an ongoing. I think if the second one had been really good, like on par with the first one, I think we would already have had Pacific Rim 3 and 4 by now. There's just a lot you could have done with it. All right, what's next?
All right, Ronetta says, and we were just talking about this, a hero on screen, a beacon off it. Chadwick Boseman's shine still guides us, even though he's gone too soon, forever missed, forever king. We lost him this day.
So it was this day, yeah.
But his light didn't dim; it spread. Rest easy, King. Rest in power.
You know what?
That was a $20 tip. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. You know what? I didn't realize today was the 5th anniversary.
Yeah,
until somebody mentioned that it's Bill and Ted's anniversary. Then I was like, well, I remember that.
Yeah.
I think we got to talk about that tomorrow, about the 5 years since we've lost Chadwick Boseman. Even though we're going to be one day late on it. I think tomorrow's show, I think we're going to talk about that. Because like, not only did we lose, and people unfortunately only think of him as Black Panther, this dude was a great actor. Like, he was an Oscar caliber kind of actor. But the way it also, the loss of him also fundamentally really changed the direction of where the most successful film franchise in history was going to go. Because losing him changed a lot. And anyway, I think we're going to talk a little bit tomorrow about his career, but also how it has impacted the MCU over the last 5 years, his loss. Anyway, thanks for reminding us that. All right, what's next?
Muscle Campea. Mandalorian and Grogu feels like such a release. Starfighter is more interesting, but I think Star Wars needs a real new saga to actually come back. Replacing Disney Plus shows with spin-off movies and one-offs still feel like they're scared to commit.
I disagree. Here's why I disagree. Now, the thing about The Mandalorian, yes, but I don't think Starfighter needs to be the next saga. You know what you need? Good movies.
And there's nothing that says you can't have a sequel to Starfighter.
Yeah, true. But at the end of the day, and I have this debate with people all the time. What they should do is plan this trilogy, or they should do, no. You know what cures everything? Winning. Winning cures everything. We are not having the discussion. And some people disagree with this, but again, it's lonely being right. We would not be having the discussion about how the quality of the MCU's dropped a bit since Endgame. They have put out some fantastic stuff, yes, but also a lot of mediocre stuff, and their consistency isn't as good, and blah, blah, blah. And everybody talk about, well, it's because, the movies aren't really as tied together anymore. Sorry, that's bullshit. Because even if Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was still tied into everything else more, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was still a crappy movie. Still a crappy movie. And sorry, if Secret Invasion had been more tied into the MCU as an overall thing, it's still a crappy TV show. If She-Hulk had been more tied into the events of the MCU, it doesn't matter. It's still a crappy TV show. And a good show is still a good show. And what Star Wars needs to do is, I don't give a shit if it's part of a new trilogy or part of a new saga, or I don't give a crap about any of that. I need the stuff you put out to be high quality. And if it is, then that's a win. Andor is not tying into Ahsoka. And how does Andor lead to the rise of Mandalorian? It doesn't need to be. Andor is just the greatest thing Star Wars has ever produced in the last 40 years. Or 35 years, whatever. It just is. And you put out quality. That's all that matters. And if Starfighter ends up being a standalone film, fine. If it's great, then you'll have done something to start re-energizing the fan base again. Putting out great films is what's important. Whether they're parts of 4-part stories or whether they're individual stories or whatever. Great films is what matters. And that's what we've been missing, at least on a consistent level. All right. What's next?
Dylan Gretsch is our last of the tips. Hi, John. I was thinking the other day who could be the new Wonder Woman in the DCU. And Karen Gillan came to mind as she has the size and is in her 30s and has that warrior look. But most importantly, she's a great actress. What are your thoughts?
X-actor and X-role. You can name any actress who's a really good actress, roughly in the right age range, and I'll go, sure, yeah. Would she be great in it? Sure. But you could probably list about 50, 60, or 70 other actresses that I think would also be really good in the role. It all depends on how they're going to write her and what her, what kind of Wonder Woman are we going to get? Because again, every time we get Batman, it's kind of a different Batman. Every time we get a Joker, it's kind of a different Joker. And and therefore different actors would be better fits for different iterations of the character. So having no idea what kind of iteration of Wonder Woman we're going to get, it's impossible to say who would be perfect for it. But Karen is a wonderful actress. I really like her. And so she would be one of, what was that old game, Monkeys in a Barrel?
Uh-huh.
She would be, I don't really care which monkey you pull out of the barrel, as long as you're pulling out of the right barrel, a talented actress barrel. She's definitely one of those. So would I be fine with it? Absolutely. Do I think she's perfect for it? Can't possibly know until I see what kind of Wonder Woman we're supposed to get.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for joining us here today and being part of our show. And big thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported our channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Big thanks to Robert Meyer Burnett, who will be back here again tomorrow. Our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name's John Campea, and until tomorrow, my friends, bye-bye.